Hi, welcome to this overview of the daisy family. So the daisy family are definitely family you will need to get to know and understand how to identify in the field. They have the most or the largest number of indicator species and groups within the acres grassland scoring system. They can look very similar to each other. So we want to try and give you the tools or the skills to be able to identify the differences between species in the field, and also in particular not just to rely on flowers being present, but to be able to look at the leaves that are present as well. And just a bit of background on the daisy family. It is maybe up there with the orchid family as being the largest flowering plant family in the world. We have lots of daisy family members in Ireland. It comes from aster, or Asteraceae comes from aster, the star, the shape of the star. They're found everywhere, so they can be found in wetter environments, in drier environments, in shaded and unshaded environments. So very much a kind of ubiquitous species that could be found pretty much anywhere. In Ireland, we will come across ones that are what's called herbaceous, so they just looks like little herbs. But across the rest of the world, you can get daisy members that are actually trees and shrubs. A very characteristic part of a daisy is the flower. So when you see the flower, generally speaking, you're left in no doubt that it is a member of the daisy family. So if you remember the introduction to plant characteristics and the inflorescences, I introduced the fact that there was something called a capitulum. So a capitulum means a grouping of many flowers together on one head, one inflorescence head. And that's what you have with the daisy. So on the left hand side here, we have the beautiful meadow thistle. And you can see all of those flowers that are grouped together. Here with the daisy family, believe it or not, the oxeye daisy, we actually, sorry, I went on too quickly there. You actually have many flowers joined together around the outside and in the inside of the flower. And also the same with the dandelion. So capitulum, many flowers joined together into one inflorescence. And in the daisy family, there's two different ways that the flowers look. So this is your oxeye daisy. And the outside flowers are called the ray florets. So these, if you were to look at them with the hand lens, and we'll get some out when we're out on the field trip in June, you have these kind of, they look like the rays of the sun radiating out from the plant. And they have 5 petals that are actually joined together. So if you were to look at the notch or the tip of those, it's 5 little notches, which indicates 5 petals joined together. And then we have the female part up here, so this is the stigma, the style, all the way down here to the ovary. So every plant part is present that you would expect in the flower, but very much reduced in size. On the other side then, we have the centre of the daisy, and this is the orange centre here. It would be the same with the common daisy, and it's what's called a disc floret. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 petals, all joined together. We have the stigma here, which is called bilobe, so there's 2 little lobes to it, and it goes all the way down here to the ovary. And here you can see this mass here is actually the anthers, and they're joined together around the stigma and the style. So 2 very characteristic types of flowers that are only found in the daisy family. Now some plants will only have ray florets, or some might have a combination of the 2, like the oxeye daisy. Another characteristic of the daisy family is if you look at the back of the flower where the sepals are, because you've got a whole lot of flowers joined together, we don't call them sepals anymore. What we call them is, it's a great term, it's called an involucre of bracts. Sorry, it's just gone on there again. So loads of different leaves that look green at the back of the flower, involucre of bracts. And here I've got sneezeworth. It's not one of your indicator plants, but it's a member of the daisy family. We've the meadow thistle, and it looks very kind of thistle-like with that green bunching of sepals. And here we have a little hawkweed as well. So many sepals at the back of the daisy family plants. And when you get daisy families together, they can be very high quality indicators of ground conditions. So this is a hay meadow that I took a picture of in County Leitrim. This is an Annex 1 hay meadow, so in other words, extremely important type of habitat. It's dry, which is obviously unusual for Leitrim, but it was full of oxeye daisy and full of other plants that you would expect to find in a nice hay meadow that's been well managed and not fertilised. And you can actually see there in the background, you can see the hawkweeds that are popping up as well. So you can get different members of the daisy family co-occurring together in the same grassland. And this was a picture I took in the beautiful Shannon Callows. So obviously they have very species-rich meadows down there. And this was full of meadow thistle. Now meadow thistle is a very high quality indicator of grasslands. So again, the Annex 1 type habitat here would be something called Molinia meadow. So meadows that are really not fertilised at all tend or can be quite damp. And this meadow thistle is a very good indicator of those. And again, you can see the bunching of flowers together, and here the involucral bracts, the lots of sepals at the back of the plant. But what if you came across this? So this is a grassland in County Leitrim. It's extremely species rich up near Kinloch. And when I walked in there weren't really many of the lovely heads like this up in abundance. But when you look down, these leaves are very characteristic of meadow thistle. So getting to know the leaves of the plants in the daisy family will be quite important, because something like meadow thistle doesn't always have a lot of flowers that might be visible, but it certainly might have a lot of leaves that are visible, and leaves also count as well as part of the cover. So here's some examples of leaves of the daisy family. On the left hand side here I have the kind of spoon-shaped leaves of the oxeye daisy. Very similar in fact to the common daisy, but they're just a bit larger. Sorry, keep going on there. Then we've got the very finely divided leaves of yarrow. It's quite unmistakable actually once you get your eye in for it. Here we've got autumn hawkspit leaves, so hawkspit being one of the groupings that the daisy family have. They have lovely yellow flowers coming off them, but you can look down and you can see that it's got kind of long wings or long lobes that come out from the leaf. And then here on the right hand side we have the leaves of the common knapweed. So they're very linear, quite tough, and they don't have any lobes or any divisions on them. So we'll spend some time on leaves of the daisy family. What I'd like you to do is to think about characteristics. So capitulum, very characteristic, that grouping of flowers all together, the two types of flowers, the ray florets and the ligulate or the disc florets, the involucral bracts, so all of those sepals that are at the back of the flower, parts in 5, and there's lots of fusion. And the leaves are mostly simple leaves, so there's not too much division to them. And what I'd like you to do for the e-plant portfolio is to think about which of these daisy families can you get to take pictures of and to include. Now I believe I've asked you to include 5 because there's quite a number of these in existence and I want you to get your eye in for them. If possible, try and concentrate on those indicator species, but you can also include non-indicator species because you will be coming across those in grasslands, and I want you to be able to eliminate those from being on your scoring system or as counting towards part of the score. You're going out in May and June, so the easiest ones to spot are the listed there, and do remember to put your unique identifier in each photograph, please, as well. So here, for example, I took a picture of common daisy and I have my name there. So something that just shows me that it wasn't taken from the internet. So good luck with those. And over the next few weeks, some of those flowers will be coming into being. So try and get out and take pictures when you can and have a look at the characteristics that define this plant family.